What's up, boys and girls? It's your man right here, the one and only, the Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders of the RCWR Show, coming at you with a album review. I know it's been a while, but we are coming now off the break with a nice right left hook, baby, because we are talking about Dr. Dre's new album. It's his final album. It's the grand finale. It is the Compton soundtrack. You all know they got that new movie Straight Outta Compton based off of the n.w.a. That movie's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks, and the news about this Dr. Dre soundtrack, it like literally came a couple of weeks right down to like when the album was about to drop. A lot of people like honestly didn't expect it. It almost came like so left field, as if you weren't aware, Dr. Dre's newest album dropped yesterday, being Friday, August 7th, 2015. Now it's available in Apple Music and on iTunes and hopefully wherever else good music is available. But man, I'm coming to you guys straight from the heart. I got to for this one. I don't need to read no script, none of that shit. All right. Because look, I have Dr. Dre's albums. I got the Chronic. All right. I got the follow up to that. All right. The 2001 joint. I have been waiting patiently, man. Patiently from the early 2000s. Me and my friends been waiting patiently for Dr. Dre to come out with what was supposed to be a follow up to the Chronic. It was supposed to be a sequel to the Chronic. Rumors had it was supposed to be called Chronic 2 or whatever. And like every single year that would go past, we would keep hearing all these little bits and snippets from people that like did a guest vocal on a track for Dr. Dre or was a guest producer, and we would hear, yeah, oh, it's fantastic. Heard some of the music, man, you're gonna love it. Sounds like it's gonna be the bomb. It was like one of those, okay, you heard that Axl Rose was working with like a new band to form Guns N' Roses, that there was going to be another Guns N' Roses album, and like we're holding our breaths to the point where like it's never going to happen. Then it finally happened. We see Led Zeppelin get back together for one night only. We see the Police get back together. We see Genesis get back together. We see all these great moments in musical history come about. And if you are a rap fan, you a hip hop fan, you're like, all this shit that's going on, Dr. Dre, what's up, man? Hit us up with another album, you know? But Dr. Dre, my man has been busy. You all know that. Those of you that has been a fan of Dr. Dre for a lot of years, you've been following his career. You know, my man is the CEO of Aftermath Entertainment. He was also the founder of Beats Electronics, Popular Headphones, and other great sounding devices. Apple came in, they bought that out, but they have like this exclusive deal set up with Dre where right now I know he's doing the pharmacy on iTunes Music. Check that out. It's a great podcast. I've listened to it. It's pretty fucking awesome, very solid. Also founder of Death Row Records. I mean, he has been the focal point producer, if you will, for a lot of the biggest acts in the rap game that's out there. Some would even jump out a step further and say this guy has played a very influential part in launching the careers of guys such as Kendrick Lamar, 50 Cent, Eminem, Exhibit, of course, Snoop Dogg. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. I'm not going to come on here. I'm not going to have you guys watch me put on some headphones, listen to each track. That's no, I think that's silly. What I want to tell you guys, the way I'm going to approach reviewing this album, is just talk about the overall experience of the album and key tracks that I felt really stood out throughout this album. Now, I know for those of you that have probably listened to this album over and over and over and over again, you're probably like, that's kind of hard to do. And I would say yes, but I did manage to kind of single out key tracks I would like for you guys to go check out, just so you can hear the singles for yourself, and hopefully it'll convince you to check out the entire album. But if you've come to love and respect my album reviews, definitely you'll appreciate when I say this, especially for those of you that's like, how is this album? What's up? I can tell you just overall, It's like a concept album, and it should, because it's Compton. Although I have a little bit of an issue with the front cover, if you will, as the front cover for the album, which you'd see in the thumbnail for this video, or you can check out a link, I'll post it below. It doesn't reflect Compton in no way. When you look at this image, you don't see Compton anywhere. So I had a little bit of a problem with the image, but it is a concept album. Want to make sure that we really home in on that. Those of you that's not aware what a concept album is, basically a concept album, it basically deals with one idea, one theme, and it's basically consistent on every single track. And in this case, Dr. Dre, basically during this whole 16 track journey, you're experiencing what it was like for Dr. Dre growing up in Compton, struggling to make ends meet, finding odd jobs, hooking up with his friends, going through the NWA, getting all the way up to where he is right now in his life. But basically, this is an album about Dr. Dre never forgetting about his roots, if you will, right in Compton. And I got to tell you, from a production standpoint, every single track on this album just freaking kicks ass. Some of the people that jumped in on this album, definitely Dr. Dre, large part had to do with like every single track that's on there. But also you had Focus, DJ Dahi, Dean Jones, Bank, Best Kept Secret, Nephew, DJ Premier even made an appearance on there, DJ Silk, and just the all star lineup of vocalists that came on here to do their thing. Of course, you had Jill Scott, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, John Connor, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, Peck, Exhibit, Code 187 UM, King Mez, Marsha Ambrosius. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on of the people that like came in to help out on every single track. But like just from the production standpoint, well executed. I mean, very crisp, just very rich. I mean, just the quality. I mean, especially when you like go back and you look at the other two Dr. Dre albums, you know, Dr. Dre cares about those beats. You know, he cares about those great hooks, those instrumentals, and all that. But just to see the evolution of where he's gone from previous works over the years to where he is right now. I mean, he, with the help of the other producers, they just went all balls out. Production standpoint, if this album isn't nominated alone for just the production that was put into this, I think it'd be a travesty. uh just the journey that you go through on these tracks, though, man, I had to, and this was hard for me to do because every single track fucking rocked to the point that I couldn't go, okay, is this track weak, or is this track like should have not made the cut? That wasn't the case. Every single track you can just bob your head to from the moment that it opens up with the intro. And I love how it opens up like literally old school. You got like this guy who sounds like this radio announcer from the 50s or whatever it kind of sounds like. And then it just pretty much goes into talk about it. And then Genocide. Oh my God. I actually wrote down the key tracks that I really, really enjoyed a lot. Genocide, I definitely fucked with that track a lot. Talk About It featuring King Mez, Justice. It's All on Me featuring Justice and BJ, the Chicago Kid. Dark Side / Gone featuring King Mez, Kendrick Lamar. I like the sample of Eazy's vocals put in there. I was also feeling the piano playing in there. I would think that that probably had to do um, with King Mez, probably, or maybe that was Dre on the piano. Who knows? I know Dre was messing around with the piano back in the day. Loose Cannons featuring Exhibit, Code 187 and Sly Piper. Really love that track. Issues featuring Ice Cube, Anderson, Pac, and Dim Joints. Love that. Deep Water, Kendrick was on that one. Justice and Anderson, Pac on that one. One Shot, One Kill featuring Snoop Dogg. Oh man, I've been a Snoop Dogg fan for a long time, man. And Snoop Dogg still relatively a young man. He's only in his early 40s, but I tell you, man, when I was listening to One Shot, One Kill, this track really came off to me like raw Snoop Dogg, like the old Snoop Dogg from back in the 90s. I mean, I was just catching shades of great rhyming brilliance from the D.O.G. All right. I mean, I was really messing with that. Anybody that has listened to this album enough, you've gone back to that track, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, don't get me wrong. No disrespect to Snoop Dogg, who always seems to put out great quality albums. But for this particular track, I mean, it was like old school D.O.G. showed up, not the Snoop we've been getting the past couple of years, if you will. For the Love of Money, basically you had Jill Scott on there pretty much singing the hook, doing some nice background vocals, if you will. Main folks that was dominating on the track vocally up front, you had John Connor and Anderson, Doc Pac doing their thing on there. When I was originally looking at the titles of these tracks and I came across For the Love of Money, I'm thinking to myself, oh well, maybe they gonna do some type of sample, or maybe they gonna do some type of a rendition of the OJ's For the Love of Money. But nah, it was a completely original song. It is right here from Dre and crew. Was really loving this one. Special shout out to Jill Scott too. For those of you that's Jill Scott fans, there's actually going to be a live interlude special with Jill Scott later this month on TV One. Just so you guys know, check that out through your local cable satellite provider. Probably for me, and it's because I am a huge Eminem fan. Anybody that's been listening to our podcast long enough knows how much of an Eminem fan I am. Hard for me to do this, but I gotta go out there. I know it's probably gonna be some of you that may actually disagree. You may say, nah, Lee, the album overall kicks ass, or nah, this track is actually the absolute standout. I'm just saying, for me, this is just my personal opinion. Most standout track on this entire album, Medicine Man, featuring Eminem, Candace Pillay, and Anderson. I mean, man, I love the way that track opens up. You have this guy, sounds like he's talking to the doctor. He's like, doctor, I hope you got some good news. And the doctor's like, yeah, about that. And then basically you got the girl coming. I guess that's Candace. She comes in, and I can't remember word for word, but basically she's saying, sounds like she's basically saying, you tried to snitch, you tried to run these games, not about that. Go fuck yourself. Doctor's orders. That's basically the whole hook. And like next thing you know, like you hear the first verse, you're like, okay, okay. But then, like, as tight as the first verse was, when Eminem comes in, he just commands that whole damn thing. Eminem just, man, the evolution of Eminem over the years, I'm like always impressed. I mean, I go way back when Eminem on Exhibit, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. I remember when Eminem first began, and just I have all his albums, so just seeing his evolution all the way up to where he is right now. I mean, this young man just gets better and better as time goes by. And I mean, this track right here, man, I hope this is like a taste of things to come for like whatever Eminem's working on next, because as long as I've been listening to Eminem, I gotta say this was like one of the finest tracks ever. But then again, what can you expect? What should you expect when Eminem hooks up with Dr. Dre? Anytime these guys hook up and they do something, it's gonna be a damn classic. History has shown that. But man, Medicine Man, that was Eminem's track all on its own. And of course, Reading My Diary, the album closer by Dre. Love that. Great little touch right there. Dr. Dre came in at the end, just doing his own thing, laying it down, talking about where he came from, never forgetting, how he started, where he is right now, basically saying, even though he's made his money, he's got the whole Hollywood status and all that, He's still that nigga from Compton. He ain't forget where he's from, and he never will. His family and his friends that he's lost along the way and all that. It was a great closer, man. And Dr. Dre, he's saying this is it, that he's done. I mean, come on, the man is 50 years of age, and honestly, he's saying this is the grand finale with what he gave to us with Compton. I am happy with that. My whole deal, if anything, I wish we could have got more albums out of Dr. Dre, but I know the man's just been dipping his hands in all other different types of projects, producing stuff for people and all that. I'm just happy that he honored his word, if you will. Not that he was a liar or anything like that. I'm not implying that. I'm just happy that he kept his word for the fans that have been waiting patiently for him to drop another album. He finally did that. And to Dr. Dre, I just say thanks. I wish we could have got more albums out of you, but I tell you, man, the 16, almost 17-year gap between albums, I tell you, well worth the wait, man. Well worth the wait. I never thought I was going to be able to hear a new Dr. Dre album of new material. I was under the impression that, like, if it was going to drop, that maybe I was going to be like 60, and like my kids were going to have the fortunate pleasure of checking out a new Dr. Dre album, as maybe it was going to be some type of B-sides, rarities, or whatever. And you know what? Those of you that might be fiending for more Dr. Dre music, I have a feeling that in a few years, I would say anywhere between 5 to 7, give or take, we very well might get another Dr. Dre album. It would probably be of rarities, unreleased tracks, and all that. And we're probably going to be coming right back here together saying, man, why didn't he make an album out of this? Why didn't he release? He's sitting on a gold mine of just materials of stuff that like has yet seen the light of day. But I have to just straight up say that with this album, and I think this is like the first time in RCWR Show album history that we've done this since we've been reviewing albums, this Dr. Dre Compton soundtrack, it gets a 10 out of 10. I repeat, a 10 out of 10. This has to go down as probably the album of the year. If you are a rap / hip hop fan, grab this album. You won't be disappointed. I know, 10 out of 10. And I told you guys what tracks really jumped out to me the most, but every single track, there's no reason to hit fast forward. There's no reason to just be like, this shouldn't be on the album. Every track fucking bangs. It rocks. You're gonna love it. Trust me, I guarantee it. 10 out of 10. First album in RCWR Show history. We are rating an album with a perfect score. And on that note, I open the forum now officially to you all. So if you checked out Dr. Dre's new album, I'd love to hear what you thought about it. Post your comments down below. Find us on Twitter. You can follow me at the RCWR Show. Facebook, Infinity One Productions. That's with an E. Spell out one. Infinity One Productions. Give us a like while you're there. And based on the number of reactions that we received from you guys, comments, whether you liked or disliked the album, we'll follow up on what y'all have to say on our next podcast edition of the RCWR Show, which you can check out Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, live on Spreaker.com. All the links you need is in the episode description. If you cannot join us live, even more the reason why, you should check out the downloadable links for iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, wherever else, you can check out our podcast. All the links you need in the episode description. So check it out. And that's going to do it. If you're new, welcome. Love to have you subscribe so you never miss out. We do album reviews from time to time. We also dip a little bit into some wrestling, other stuff. Poke your head, subscribe. Check out some of the great content that we have on here, as we're always talking about something interesting on a weekly basis. Make sure you give this a thumbs up. When you do, you show your appreciation, love, respect for us video creators here on YouTube. Share this a number of ways. Google Plus it, Facebook it, retweet it. One of the many ways you can spread a good word about our content. That is going to do it, boys and girls. Until next go round, be safe, be kind to one another. Go check out Compton, a soundtrack by Dr. Dre. Once again, gets a perfect score, 10 out of 10 by the RCWR Show. First time in album review history. Take care, folks.